Hello and welcome back to another episode of Auspol Explained, and I am here to talk to my predominantly 18 to 24-year-old audience about something that they're keenly interested in: pensions. Even better, political pensions, the type that you're not even going to get yourself. Have you ever heard the complaint that politicians are just in it for a good pension and will cost the taxpayers millions of dollars a year? I've certainly heard that. Seems to be a big gripe with some people. Oh, we should get rid of their pensions, see how they like it. Let's just dive in. Just how juicy are those pensions we keep hearing about? Here's the thing. Politicians' pensions do actually cost us millions per year. For now. More specifically, it'll cost us about $350 million over the next 11 years. But that number will eventually go down instead of up. Why? Because politicians have not yet learned the secret to immortality. And quite frankly, neither have I. I've looked into it, I can't figure it out. Back in 2004, John Howard decided to abolish the old parliamentary pension scheme. That's right, politicians don't get huge pensions anymore. Unless, of course, they were elected before 2004. This tends to be what happens when you repeal a benefit. It doesn't become retrospective. That means politicians elected before 2004 were, or still are, entitled to the parliamentary pension scheme. Politicians elected after 2004 are part of a standard superannuation scheme where 15.4% of their salary is put into their super. And they can deal with their retirement like normal people like you and I. Only not like I, because I don't make contributions to my super because I am an idiot. My retirement is going to be ruined. If only educational YouTuber was like a real profession. How does Hank Green do this? That means that there are still politicians out there eligible for these pensions, both those who are retired and those who are still currently in office. 2004 was only 16 years ago as of this video, and oh wow, I was 12 years old and all I thought about was Pokemon all the time instead of politics, and now I'm nearly 30 and I spend my free time reading about pensions? I do have some grey hairs, please don't look. Look, so how much money do politicians actually get? Well, that depends on a few factors. Political pensions work on a sliding scale based off time in office and the positions held while in office. Don't worry, I'm not going to get into any complex, boring maths, which is all maths. What is 2 plus 2? Don't tell me. I don't want to know. To calculate it, which I'm not going to do, first you would take the base wage of the retiring politician and then factor in how long they have served. The Australian Parliamentary House website has a table all about this, which you can find in the copy of the script I provide with every video. The pension starts with 8 years of service with a rate of 50% of their parliamentary salary. So if a politician was elected for a single term, they don't get a pension, or they wouldn't have got a pension. This amount then goes up 2.5% for every year they serve. So at 9 years it's 52.5%, at 10 years it's 55%, and then finally leveling out at 75% after 18 years or more of service. 18 years in the job sounds like a long time, but for some perspective, between 2000 and 2012, the average completed term of a member of the House of Reps was 12.6 years and 14 years for a senator. About a quarter of politicians from the two major parties managed to get past the 18-year mark. So it's not the worst odds for a politician to be retiring with 75% of their base wage. At least. But what is the base wage though? The base salary of a politician grows over time. The base salary in 2004 was $106,770, and by 2012 it had grown to $185,000. The base salary for senators and members as of July 1st, 2019 is $211,250. So in 15 years, it has almost doubled. This increase in salary, by the way, isn't determined by the politicians themselves. It's determined by an independent statutory body called the Renumeration Tribunal, which sounds like it's from a sci-fi story, and they're a shadowy organization that meets with hoods to rule on forbidden machinations. But actually it's just 3 people appointed by the Governor General, and they do like math stuff, like nerds. And until 2012, pensions increased with the annual salaries of serving senators and members. So someone who retired in 2004 had their pension increase until 2012. These are pensions, like I said, and so they must reach the minimum age of 55 before they can access these entitlements. This is pretty much a non-issue, as the average age of a politician is 51, and the cutoff was over 15 years ago, so almost anyone entitled to a pension has it or will have it upon retirement, except Stephen Chelbo, who retired in the 2019 election and was only 45, so is eligible for a 6-figure pension in 10 years. I hope whatever he's doing in the meantime keeps him busy. That's just a little fun fact for you. Sucks to be that one guy, I guess. You're probably thinking, hey, 75% of $200,000 isn't bad, and I'd be happy with that. I know I would be very happy with that. Well, then get ready for more, by which I mean tens of thousands of dollars more. Holding a specific position can greatly increase the wage of a politician. For instance, shadow ministers and parliamentary secretaries get 25% on top of their base wage. Minor party leaders with more than 10 members get 45% increase. Deputy Leader of the Opposition gets 57.5% increase, whereas the Leader of the Opposition gets 85% increase on their base wage. The Deputy Prime Minister gets a 105% increase in salary, whereas the Prime Minister gets a whopping 160% increase over the base salary. That's why the Prime Minister currently earns over $500,000 per year. That makes the position one of the highest paid political leaders in the whole world. But not the highest. The highest is the Prime Minister of Singapore with over $1.6 million US per year, which is just a lot of money. Conversion rates count as a mathematical equation, and I promised none of that. This is after he took a pay cut down from over $2 million US. So the position of Singapore Prime Minister, real good. It also doesn't change hands very often, so your dreams of becoming the Prime Minister of Singapore are statistically very, very unlikely. But yeah, I've seen lots of people on Facebook say that the Australian Prime Minister is the highest paid politician in the world. It's not true. Please research statistics before making any claim. Like, that one's really easy to debunk. Anyway, back to pensions. Pensions factor in their highest paid position before then calculating a percentage of that based off years served. Because of all these factors involved, the actual figures can vary a lot. Thankfully, here are some examples that someone else prepared earlier. Most of the eligible politicians retiring in the 2016 election got $118,125 a year or more. That's still considerable, even before factoring any of those politicians having a cabinet or ministerial position. More recently, Julie Bishop, former Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party and Minister for Foreign Affairs, retired from politics in 2019. As she was elected in 1998, she will have a pension of over $200,000. Tony Abbott, a former Prime Minister, will get around $300,000 a year, estimated. The exact figures I'm not quite sure, and unfortunately, Tony Abbott hasn't responded to any of my emails, and Julie Bishop doesn't reply to any of my DMs on Twitter. She follows me. True fact. She doesn't like anything that I tweet though, so. To put this all into some context, the 2019 aged pension for a single person was $24,081, but that's what super is for. Oh god, I really need to make some super contributions! Ugh. Freelancing has not helped my retirement plans. See, normally your employer does the super contributions, but in real life, I do freelance work, so the employer, me, does not do super contributions. Like an idiot. Don't be like me. Super really does appreciate with value Really though, do check that you have super contributions. But also, pensions can be negatively affected if politicians take up certain positions. The benefit can be reduced if a retiring politician decides to get a job that counts as holding an office of profit under the state of the Commonwealth. An office of profit includes things like state governors, governor general, federal and state court justices or judges, federal magistrates, etc. So if you're a politician who decides to retire from their over $200,000 a year job and become the governor general, who earns $425,000 a year, then your pension would get reduced slightly. Drat. They'll be so destitute. Oh no. The pension is reduced from 20% of a base salary at the rate of 50 cents in the dollar to a maximum of 50% of the retiring allowance. And I'm not going to bother to do any maths on that because I have an arts degree, but now you know something. If you came to watch this video about historic pension schemes and wanted to hear about complex maths, then too bad, okay? Too bad. I only say numbers, but you'll never see me associating with plus signs and multiplication symbols. That's for other nerds. Also, if a politician from pre-2004 returns to Parliament, their pension is suspended until they leave Parliament again. So if they had previously served less than 18 years and they wish to serve a few more to try and boost that pension, unfortunately their pension will remain based on what they had previously served before returning to Parliament. What a bummer. They can also ask for a lump sum to be paid out to them in one go for a reduced pension later on. There are also provisions for orphan children of former politicians under the age of 25. The pension scheme actually has quite a lot to it, but let's be honest, you did not come here to learn about the particulars of what benefits there are for orphan children of politicians that were elected 20 years or more ago. You're just here to know how big do those pensions get? And boy, do they get big. The answer is they can be over $300,000, but that's for a long-serving Prime Minister. Keep in mind that the current Prime Minister, as I film this, Scott Morrison, was first elected in 2007. So, potentially, someone who was elected before 2004 eventually could become Prime Minister and maybe even have a higher pension, depending on what the base salary is by the time that they retire in the future, so I can't predict that. So what effect does this have on the budget? In 2017, 339 retired MPs and 84 spouses were eligible for the scheme. These pensions cost us about $43.7 million a year and will rise to their peak at around $59.3 million a year in 2035. This number will then gradually decline to $0 when every politician who served before 2004 eventually just dies, or possibly, in the future, the pension scheme might be reintroduced, in which case maybe you can get a pension. But first you have to become a member of a political party, so good luck on your political journey. So if you were really hoping that you could just get elected for just one term and then retire with a sick pension, sorry, doesn't work like that. The only way to get that pension is to invent a time machine, travel back and get elected in the 2001 federal election, be in office for 18 plus years, and then by the time that you have done that, it'll be about now again, and then you'll be set for life. Simple. What's stopping you? The laws of physics? I don't understand those. I'm an arts major, and now look at my success. Well, anyway, please subscribe. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. Please share. Please also check out all the links in the description, a copy of the script with all the citations I have used to make this is usable for you in assignments or to learn more. And there is also a Patreon so you can support the channel and help spread free education for everyone. Please comment down below what you would like to learn about next. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.